Hi guys, welcome to WolfScape's podcast. Today we are bringing you the new Pirate Quest Piece of Hate. Remember guys that this video does contain spoilers for the Piece of Hate quest, so only listen to us if you've either done it or you don't mind things being spoiled. We have today Agita.
Hello.
Plum.
Hey.
Rogue.
Hello.
Lauren.
Hi.
And a new guest, Hyde.
Oh, hi.
And I'm Emily. The first question I'd like to throw out basically to everybody is, what was your favourite part of the quest? So we'll start with Plum.
Definitely have to say the end. The actual, well, not like ending, just kind of after the Mosley Harmless, bit where the siege basically happens. After that, I really enjoyed the rest of that, like a lot more lore in it, and I quite liked the end boss fight as well. But yeah, the end.
Yeah, I agree with that. I enjoyed the end. I also enjoyed the little almost mini game that we had defending Mosley Harmless itself. The different kind of tasks, that was quite good. But I would definitely say the ending was
kind of a
absolutely
shame
worth
that
it.
they didn't make that a permanent D&D, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually. That could have been quite a nice addition, yeah.
Replace Trouble Burn.
Do you know, it might have.
Like Dead mini game.
Yeah, it might have.
What was everybody's, what did you hate the most?
I hated the beginning part.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a bit
really,
slow starting, wasn't it?
yeah, I really hated the beginning part. I don't know if it was just myself, but I had a glitch on it. I don't like those type of games where you have to use items on items, really obscure items, just to get somewhere. But
Escape from the Rock?
yeah, straight from the rock. There was the place upstairs where you had to use the pineapple on the slime, and I used every item possible on the slime, and it didn't work for me.
Didn't work.
And it wasn't until I actually encountered a further bug in the quest where I drank too much rum, so I blacked out. But I clicked off of the chat so that my screen was
in the
just.
quest or in real life?
I clicked off of the chat so that my screen was just black as it was supposed to be, going through the chat as it was getting reset. But I was still able to move around, and I was clicking doors and I was opening everything. But it had broken for me at that point, so I actually had to go into the lobby and come back. And it was only whenever I had restarted that putting the pineapple on the slime worked for me then. So, and that sounds like just a 2-second thing. I was probably doing that for about 45 minutes because I could not work out what to do or what I was doing wrong at this point, just because of that little bug that was stopping me from progressing.
So when did you do that quest? When did you do the quest? Because I'm wondering if they've patched that yet.
It was the Friday that it had been released, so it was
Last Friday.
4 or 5 days into. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have a problem on the day doing it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it either. I don't think I did it on the Wednesday or the Thursday.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it till last.
So I didn't have the problem, and I only did it Monday, Tuesday there as well. So they might have patched any issues that may have came with the quest then.
Yeah.
Or it could have just been the unluckiness of the draw,
Did you find out if anyone else had experienced this bug?
I didn't actually look into it, to be honest with you. It was just something I experienced at the time.
Too frustrated with it himself.
You hear that a bit recently, that a lot of new content they put out, they sort of rush through QA, and this is what they're saying to us now when they get slow content, is that you don't want us to rush the QA because every time we rush the QA, there ends up being bugs that we don't catch.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wouldn't be a RuneScape update without something being bugged, right?
That's true. To be fair, I suppose they are taking into account everybody's specs and things. There could be something that with your computer that's made it happen. You don't know. It could have even just been a genuine issue. You don't know.
There was another gripe that I had, and this was one of your favourite bits, Plum, where you were interrogating the zombie head. But I mean, yes, I went through what I knew was the wrong dialogue to go to, but then whenever I was trying to do it properly, and the more dialogue trees you go down, the more chance of you're getting it wrong and having to restart. And so many times did I choose the wrong thing and have to go straight back to the beginning and be like, spacebar, 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 you know, just get back to the point I was at just to choose the right one.
Well, actually, you've just reminded me. Like, what did you guys choose as the crime that you'd committed to go onto the Rock Island to begin with?
I can't even remember.
I chose.
I think I
I
murdered
chose
somebody.
leech in boss fights.
I said a spacebar quest.
Oh yeah, I think I did that one.
I thought that was funny.
I mean, that's a good start. I mean, that sort of laid down what the rest of the quest was going to be like.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably a nice brace for the fact that you're going back to that bloody island where you have to break out.
Oh
of
yeah.
again.
I mean, did anybody notice the amount of puns or funny things there was in?
Oh gosh.
Yes.
There was a lot
them.
of them.
I kept
Yes.
examining things because it was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cannons that were dropping and going, it's not cannon. I was like,
That is a good touch, though, isn't it? That's a good touch examining things for.
Yeah.
yeah.
That was the glory of it, though. Is like when you thought you'd absorbed all the human, you'd found all the things to find.
There
All of a
was
sudden,
something
they
else.
drop something else in.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it means like you'd have to do things. I mean, it forces you to look at the quest in another way rather than just skipping through the guides. And, like you had to interact with a lot more things to get your level of experience of the quest out.
Going back to what you were just saying, though, there was a bit that I must admit I really didn't enjoy because it felt more like a fetch quest than
Yes.
just enjoying it, you know, which sadly was after the bit with the zombie head, and then you had to go get her the cocktails,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's like if
you could pre-make.
I know, but if you didn't look at the rewards or the stuff you needed to begin with, you would have to have gone and get them 3 times because it's like, nah, I would like another one, and then go back, nah, I would like another one.
I don't
It's
know
just-
Yeah,
if you guys read a guide or knew anything beforehand, because I went in completely blind, and that was a bit where I had to go back to the Grand Tree, make the because I just made the thing up, and then I went back, and then it's like, no, I want another one, back again, back. Oh, you need to go back a 3rd time. It was so infuriating. 3
No,
times having to
I-
go back.
I sort of cheated on that and bought like 10 and then sold the rest of them in G because I knew they'd be into land.
Well, no, after the bit with the rat necklace that you had to make, that was when I was like, I'm going to actually have a look because I'm not doing this. I'm not going back and forward because I had to go to the sawmill, which obviously it doesn't take long if you've got teleports, but it's still inconvenient to then have to go buy whatever it is that you needed to make a
two
collar
leather and a
Gold
and a
bar.
gold bar.
I'm
Yeah.
not quite sure how 2 bits of leather make a necklace for a rat, but
No,
a
especially
collar
when
for
it
a
can
rat.
make like a whole body for a person.
yeah.
I actually used a guide. I remember when I was given the zombie head cocktails, it was like, oh, I want something that's got, you know, an alcoholic twist with something sweet and sour. And my character went, oh, I actually have one of these in my backpack. And he went, how convenient. So
Yeah, and then they
it's
do
kind
that.
of like,
so
it's
good.
obvious.
Yeah.
You're just gonna buy it.
Oh,
It
that's
did
quite clever.
mention, like-
Yeah.
Yeah, it did mention throughout that you were using a guide, especially with the rat, because I had the gold bar and 2 leather. It was like, of course you have the one.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
so-
that's very clever. Well, obviously I didn't see that, but yeah.
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 I mean, I tried to do it partially, so I tried to basically partially do it and just live in the experience, like go through the quest as it was meant to be done. But I did have a guide for backup, which I think was necessary at some points.
That's what I did because I got very stuck with the having to use pineapple on slime and then use it on the rat. That
Yeah.
See,
messed
I
me
got that, but I missed the
I didn't.
poster that was at the stairs. So
Oh, I
couldn't
got that,
find
so-
to get in. I was like looking everywhere for it.
I think at least like everyone gets stuck on that island at some point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it took me 3 hours to complete the quest. That was like a 3-hour sitting, and it was probably a good hour to an hour and a half where I was stuck on the rock at the beginning. Just so frustrating.
Yeah.
What makes it worse is some of the stuff on that's like your own stupidity. So like I kept going with the hook to the crabs and not getting anything else.
Yes, I did the same.
And then losing the
But it
hook.
actually, I mean, it actually makes fun of you.
Yeah, basically it's
for
like,
making
come
that
on.
mistake.
I think I put about 5 hooks in, thinking maybe the next one. Maybe the next one.
The sad
Yeah.
thing was I kept feeding the seagull instead of throwing the sandwich.
Yeah.
I was like, feed it, eventually it'll be nice to me, right?
I mean, isn't that the definition of insanity, doing the same thing twice and expecting
Oh,
different
that's it.
Yep.
Yes, but there are certain quests where you do it 5 times and get 5 different results. So
Somehow, yeah.
That the seagull was
RuneScape promotes
Count
insanity.
Ludwig Coppin
Yeah.
Loppin.
something
Hoppin'
like that.
loppin'.
Yeah. Oh,
And he
Coppin
was
Ploppin,
very-
sorry.
And he was very insulted that you were getting him confused with the other one.
Baron von Hackcraft, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
They
His
seem
nemesis.
to be mortal enemies for some reason.
I was
They called him a crab, like, eater or something, like it was like a awful thing to be.
Going back to what you were saying about that fetch and carry part, when you kind of rewarded by, like, I think it was quite a nice visual. We had a screenshot in our Discord, but it was quite a nice visual of that sunset happening. I
Yeah,
know
it was
you can
very
kind
Yeah,
of
with the
force
purple
that through
background,
skyboxes. That was quite a pretty
Yeah.
part of the quest. It was one of the nicer
Yeah,
parts
yeah.
of the quest.
It was
Maybe,
supposed to be quite relaxing, wasn't
Take a
it?
break from all the puns.
Yeah, maybe we're kind of used to being able to hit the spacebar and get through quests really quickly, but to go through something it was a bit fetch and carry, but to get a nice kind of reward within the quest for that
Yeah.
was quite nice.
I mean, I turned like my details, my water, and my outstretch up as well. With
Just
the
for that
Sims.
part.
Just to
Yeah.
look at it, yeah. It was very pretty.
I was trying to maneuver around to take a screenshot, and unfortunately, I accidentally ended the cutscene early, so
Oh.
Oh,
I was a bit fluffed. That I would like to go back to that moment if I could and get a screenshot again.
That's like the thing with they're saying about replayability of quests. Like, it would be really nice to be able to go back, do some of these quests again, just to see what you
A
missed.
moment like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially this one because of all the sort of hidden little jokes that they've slipped in different places.
That's it.
It would be nice to have like a gallery of all the cutscenes or something somewhere.
Yeah.
I know they do some
No.
like items that you can go back to and click on them to view the cutscene, but like you said, it would be better just for a universal place to go back to, even an interface, just to go, here's all your quest cutscenes that you've done before, rather than have to go get all these individual items and remember them all just to view the specific cutscene.
Well, they
Yeah.
can only really do that with a few quests, though.
Yeah, I think only a few have got
Like
potential.
print and things like that.
Yeah, because they put the time and effort into making them, so just after you watch it once, it's almost a waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it as almost
Especially
permanent content.
Considering how much there is in this quest that's hidden and sort of just behind a nook and cranny and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't like to go and escape from the island again, even though I know how to do it.
No, I don't think I would like to either, to be honest.
it's probably a quest, if possible, I would redo.
But
Definitely.
parts of it.
Do you know when we got the rat from the prison?
Yes.
Yes. Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson.
Wilson!
I was like praying. I was like praying at that point. We got to keep him as a pet.
Mm.
So when the zombie head, like, oh, we're soulmates. We're gonna adventure. We're gonna do adventures together. I was actually quite upset. I was like, no, I wanted that.
I mean, to be fair, they could have just put it in anyway, allow you to have him as like a follow-up or
Do you
something.
know what would be good? Like Bob and Nate that you see kicking about. See those two kicking about the surface. That would be so
Like-
funny.
Oh, would be, yeah, like the zombie head and Barlon Rat, yeah.
Carnelian guy that we see going around different quest locations and whatever.
Yeah, I think that would be quite cool.
There's that pig that keeps running around near Lumbridge as well, isn't there?
What is
Jambon,
that pig for?
There's
Yeah.
still,
that's bringing back the bacon, I think.
Yeah.
That's a
yeah.
really good point, they should do that. They
Yeah, I think that would be really cool.
Just like, don't tell anyone about it, just put it in anyway.
Put them around the pirate places, so like, you know, your Brain Death Island and all that
Yeah.
sort of Mosley Harmless just kicking about. It would be really
I
funny.
suppose the oldest one of that is Bob the Cat, isn't it?
That's what
it,
we're
yeah.
said as Bob and Nate. Yeah, you sometimes
Yeah,
see
but
them
that's
kicking
quest
about.
related, so.
So is
Who's
this.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. He's timeless because he was there like right at the start somewhere. Wasn't he? But
Oh, I know what you
Yeah.
mean. Like you have to go track Bob down a few
Yeah, yeah,
quests.
Yeah.
that was what I was getting at.
Yeah. Like a wee unlock would be nice, just like once you've done the quest to see them kicking about in places, that would be cute.
Because that's the thing about this quest, they put a lot of sort of humour, original stuff into it that you could definitely bring out as its own sort of content, like the defending Waslahamus, these two, the rivalry between Happen Crapper and
Whatever the other one's called.
Doppel and Dropper or something like that. I've forgotten already.
Yeah.
So my next question to everybody would be, how did you find? We did touch on it earlier. How did you find the invasion part of it?
It was
It
enjoyable.
was
yeah.
good, but
Mhm.
it was, at times it was a bit tedious.
Yes.
I didn't find it tedious. You just went to one location, did everything, and then moved to the next one. It
Did
wasn't
you find
that bad.
that the crop circle was always getting repopulated? You always had
Yeah.
to go back the wheat field.
No, because I left that one to
Theresa
near
May must
the
have been
end.
there.
I realised very quickly not to kill all zombies, just to do the captains, otherwise you run out of time and they start going everywhere else. So like, I was going and killing every zombie and be like, "These are all gone," and I'm like, "No, they're coming back."
Oh,
But they do, I mean, like the ambient zombies in the area do things like knock your cannons out and destroy your barricades and knock that pirate down as well. So maybe there is a point to killing them.
Yeah,
Just
I think for ease or quickness, I think you just do the captains, because that gets the kind of, like, so you've not got all the skulls adding up at the side, so that you're quick and don't have to worry about clearing it out completely, and then another one's got overrun, and then they obviously move to another area because they've got overrun. So
I was killing pretty much everything, and it wasn't until that last wave, and I think the boats come back on one side and the repopulated at the ship. I think that was the only problems I had.
wasn't
I
too
mean,
difficult. A
yeah.
corruption blast kind of took them all out anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they weren't
pretty
very
much.
high level anyway. I mean, the only thing that I have with that is that every time the skulls got to red, I was expecting to foul or something bad to happen.
Yeah.
There wasn't really
Yeah, there
kind of
wasn't anything.
a payoff. You could take 4 years to do it, and you could still be doing it now,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't really be suffering other than the fact that you'd probably get RSI and whatever. But the fact is, there wasn't no balancing aspect to that. You had to do this within this certain amount of time, or X was going to happen.
That's kind of how I like my quests. I don't like them when you have to turn around and sort of, oh, you've got to do it in this time limit, or you've got to start from the start again, or...
Which, I mean, it's frustrating, but it took away the possibility of it ever really being that difficult in that area.
yeah, I know what you mean. It wasn't really that challenging at all.
It's a
Like,
bit misleading.
yeah,
But should they bring it out as a potential minigame or D&D or like something like that, then that could be a possibility where, that was, you had the teaser during the quest, now you're doing it for real. If it hits the red, that's you failed,
you've lost that part of the island.
Yeah, and your rewards are reduced or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd quite enjoy that.
I
But
wouldn't
it
mind,
really-
yeah.
They
Yeah,
could
it's-
easily scale it for groups as well.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
A good team, a group effort actually. We need to coordinate who goes down to the beaches, who goes to the wheat field, who protects the gates,
Yeah.
And possibly different combat styles needed for each one as well. So
Yeah.
you'd have like two mages, 2 rangers, and 2 melees or something like that.
That's it, yeah. That could be really interesting actually.
It's scaled up every time.
So next, I would like to touch on the boss fight. So how did you guys find it? Did you die at any point? Did you?
Yeah, I died, but mainly because I hadn't properly read the guide of like what I was meant to do, and my screen just started spinning. I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
After going through the rest of the quest, I sort of got to it. Are you prepared? And I was like, yeah, why not? And I got in there, I had my Ectofile with me, and I was like, oh, I've not got much health left. I'm going to teleport out so I don't die.
I did die there, but because my insanity went over so much, I was trying to
Yeah.
find these barrels, but I was also trying to look for my sanity meter and could not find my sanity meter, and before I knew it, I was hit like 6-7k or something like that. Might have been part of.
Yeah, because if you get stunned, you can basically do a one-hit KO
Yeah.
on you.
think I was quite lucky because I was going round the outside of the arena getting the barrels, that I actually missed every hit that the hand had. So I only ever got hit by Rabid Jack's attacks, which are really not anything too bad.
As long as you spam your anticipation.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it was a pretty straightforward, easy fight.
When you knew the mechanics, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the one on the boat was a slight bit more difficult.
I would say-
It hit
I
you like
think
a tank.
the specials were a bit more common. That's what I
This
saw
was
it
Zogoth, like the recoloured Agoth,
Yeah.
Aragoth of
Yeah.
Squid Skulls, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it took me a while to realise that you should be beside it, because the actual, like, ranged kind of special attacks were worse than the melee attacks he did next to you.
The kind of poison that was on the ground was quite damaging for that, actually.
And those
That
two
was
tentacles hit you quite hard as well, so if you were close to them, he only really hit you with his claws, which, if you protect from melee, you were kind of okay.
Yeah.
I mean, with the boss fight, I switched off. I didn't get the spinny thing because I switched it off with a little cat at the front. You know, headaches.
Oh yeah, you could talk to the cat just before you go in, and
Yeah.
if you did suffer from like epilepsy or similar
Yeah.
uh, disabilities,
Sensitivity, yeah.
then you could turn it off, and I thought that was an incredibly clever idea, because there
Yeah.
has been like the more famous one for RuneScape was the Killer Watt plane, which was very lightning, flashy, heavy, and yes, there was a warning beforehand, but there was never a thing you can turn this off, and I think that was a good move here.
Yeah, definitely. It's moving in the right direction for like allowing everybody to take part in something without being scared that they're gonna take a fit or whatever it is that they would take in effects of
Yeah.
their
That's it.
problems, you know.
That cat was actually featured a couple of times during the quest before it turned up just outside the boss fight. I don't know if you
Yeah,
noticed.
there was a
Yes.
few places and you spoke to it and it'd say like half a sentence or a sentence.
Bit
and then-
creepy.
Yes.
And every
Yeah, it was
single
very
one of them
creepy.
was, and this is Meow Cat, and this is Meow Cat, and this is Meow Cat every time you examined them.
That's it. So, did you examine the cats, because it's actually quite interesting?
Yes.
I didn't know. I should have done.
I can't remember if I did or not. I know I spoke
Wait,
to it
so
every
what-
opportunity I could.
What did you get from examine?
So, if you examined it, it did say something like, "This is Meow Cat,"
Yes.
and there was another one. Do you think you can save them? And I don't know if you guys are aware of what they are. Those references are to. I am Meow Cat. I am Xau-Tak.
Oh.
Oh.
And
Xau-Tak's a cat.
well, that's at least a manifestation of him. And his other one, do you think you can save them? That's something that we've been hearing for a while from Xau-Tak.
And it was repeated twice in that quest because one of the very first cats you speak to says that, and then one on the last plane says it as well when you're in that underwater place.
There was a part on the rum distillery, where you got like all the messages up with the kittens fighting, like, oh, you don't want to watch this, and it started
Yeah.
off saying, don't worry
Yeah.
everyone, look will be okay, just enjoy the cute kittens frolicking at the moment, and then it kept going down, and every time you're reading it and you're going, oh, it's like the narrator talking to you, apart from
Yeah.
the last three. So there was 6 messages in the last three. I don't know if you noticed, the last three says, who are you kidding really? You're a monster
Yes.
and you know it. If
Yeah.
you think a scene of playful kittens will spare you from my horror, you are mistaken.
Yeah.
Do
That's
you
the
really
one, yeah.
think you can save them?
That's probably Raven right there.
Yeah, that's another, obviously, of these
But
Xau-Tak.
that's again Xau-Tak
Yeah.
speaking to us.
So there must
Oh,
that's probably
really?
why this is still a 5th age quest then. 'cause there's
Who
different
is
stuff.
Xau-Tak?
Xau-Tak is the god of the horrors. He's the
Oh, okay.
responsible for either giving them life, creating them, or has just been picked up as a deity from the horrors. But he's
Right.
got a lot of things kind of coming into RuneScape, of which this phrase, do you think you can save them? There's a piece of lore that you can read from the Barrow's Quest, Kindred
think
Spirits, but
Yeah.
there's a piece of lore in there that you can read where you are reading the journal of a person called Gustav, Joannis, I think, and it's from the book called Death at Sea, and this is from Slisky's interpretation at the time, who were learning from Slisky. Gustav, this was said apparently thousands of years ago, and Gustav said to Slisky, "Do you really think you can save them? The player's name. You can't. The spiral of time leads only to the gaping maw of eternity, and this is Xau-Tak." So thousands of years ago, this statement, "Do you really think you can save them?" is something that Xau-Tak has said to us, knowing that in the future we would see this lore book and read back from something that he said.
Quite
I
interesting,
was going to say
exciting.
that's quite deep, really, isn't
Which
it?
would
Yeah.
be quite
Yeah.
cool if, spoiler alert, Slisky wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well,
I think
technically,
this whole podcast is a
Well-
spoiler alert.
Rabbit
That is
Jack
true.
isn't, so you know.
That's it.
Finishing the fifth age quest lines basically just set up the sixth age pirate quest.
Yes.
But come on now, saying that
Just-
Agita refuses to accept Gothics as, you know, not
Oh,
sleeping.
he's just sleeping.
Press F to pay respects.
What
But-
seems interesting is that, like, Xau-Tak has not appeared in any of the 6th-age quests yet.
No.
And most of the kind of lore behind the story behind the 6th-age quest has been Slisk driven. And it says something. If Slisk is afraid of something, and he openly thumbs his nose to, like, Gothics. I mean, he killed
Yeah.
Gothics. If he's scared of Xau-Tak, then there's definitely
We're
something
screwed.
going on.
There is reason to be scared of Xau-Tak, but yes, Slisky is not a fan of Xau-Tak. But we've not met Xau-Tak during the 6th Age quest yet, but we have met him. In fact, we've also fought him during the 5th Age quest. And,
Wait, when?
well, can you take a guess when?
No?
The quest we just did, maybe,
Those
we're talking
guys-
Pieces of
about.
Yeah,
hate.
those-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Stone
he did
hands.
show up.
He was
At the end is Xau-Tak.
Oh.
stone hats.
So one of the images of Xau-Tak is that he has many these black, almost obsidian stone hands, and that was one of his hands reaching through his world to our world to attack us.
Oh, that's what it was. Basically Cthulhu then.
It reminded me of the Nexus.
It does have the kind of spawn of the Nexus from it with all the many hands. I don't know if it's got a relation. Possibly.
Yeah.
I have something to do with it.
But this raised a kind of lore question where Pieces of Hate is a 5th Age quest. So that means that this all happened while Guffix was just sleeping and the edicts were still in place.
No.
Gods could not come through. But as this quest was in the 5th Age, how on earth was Xau-Tak able to come into the world? The gods were
Have so much
banished,
influence.
so
But-
Xau-Tak was able to come through.
Yeah, but where would he rank in the gods? Because the elder gods are able to look down upon the gods, say, like Gothics and that, and turn around and say they're nothing, but they're nothing, aren't they? I
Well,
think
that's
it's,
the point. Like Guffix is up with the same level as Zaros and Seren,
yeah,
so he was that powerful. So that's why he was able to kick everyone else out. So
yes.
this is
but
saying that
that's what I'm saying
Xau-Tak
about
is either
Xau-Tak
the same
is-
level, god
Yeah.
tier, as Guffix, or is
or
beyond
is
that.
above.
Now I'm hoping it's not just a kind of lore fail where they went, whoops, maybe we shouldn't have had a god come through, but I would like to think that Xau-Tak is that strong, he's able to do whatever he likes. Or it could be
Eve-
that this place that we went to was maybe not even on Gielinor, this
Well,
underworld.
not even that, or it was like an imagery thing where he was creating something that he could put into that world.
A pocket dimension, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
Possibly,
that's his influence in the world was felt through Rabid Jack.
Yes.
Rabid
So-
Jack was doing his, and some of his creatures like the Crassians, the Cave Horrors, might have come through that little sort of pocket world. But I think it's because Rabid Jack brought them through.
yeah. It's the influence on Rabbit Jack is the main focus of the. So I'm guessing that either when we teleported, we either teleported somewhere. It must. I'm along the lines of being a pocket dimension, but
Well, if the Dragonkin
But
were
that's
in
the
that
point.
temple,
If that was a Dragonkin area, then yeah, they could have possibly have dragged it from where it was.
Well, to me, Dragonkin says Stone of Jazz. So if Stone of Jazz was there, maybe the power of that was what Xau-Tak used to make that portal to come here.
Possibly.
Possibly.
And the Stone of Jazz was moved from that area. I mean, that probably explains quite a lot, even why the aquarium top level plug is Stone of Jazz.
That could be an interesting
That's
little.
a very
Yeah.
Where was
large
where was the stone at the point? At this point in the game,
I mean, that would have had to have been on the archipelago islands.
Yeah,
Hmm,
but then it
right.
could have been because it was in the water at one point. I remember them making reference to it being in the sea
yeah.
somewhere. So
That's probably why Slisk was chasing up.
Oh
like,
yeah, he could have
bumped
been
into
trying to
Xau-Tak,
retrieve it from
because he's always
them,
been after the
because-
Stone of Jazz, hasn't he?
mhm.
Yeah,
That could have been.
so he might have been. Not
A
only was he
deadly
trying to get it
obsession.
for his own personal gain, he was trying to get it to stop what he feared from using it.
Another side to Slisk, other than just the a-hole that we all know and love.
But he does actually have a fear.
I'm gonna wait for Plum to stick in and defend it.
I love the character. I just, I do. I think he's just so great.
He's kind of the dick that RuneScape needs.
Yeah, totally. But you feel that he's pushed so much of a story, and like when I read those like journals, which was the first time I'd ever heard of Xau-Tak, it was like kind of getting excited. If there's something he's scared of, then we really should be scared.
Yeah.
But if he's beyond the power level of Guthix, he should just be able to slap the player down with his hand. Because Guthix made them the World Guardian. He fused them with the anima, which meant the gods couldn't touch player.
They couldn't use like their god spells on them, but they could still. We can still get killed by the gods,
Yeah.
basically.
I was going to say, if you think the gods can kill each other, so it's not going to make a difference.
But if he's even more powerful than Guthix, then there must be things that he can do.
It
Yeah.
would be interesting to see if that Dragonkin area was somewhere that once held the Stone of Jazz.
It's when you like end quests, go back to read the memorials to get
Yeah.
the extra XP, and it's all the Dragonkin, but it seems to be some strange looking Dragonkin that they all burn or they kill
Yeah.
at the end. But I suppose like
Another form of Xau-Tak.
might have been.
Didn't he try and trick them into thinking he was a dragon? Because there was a load of priests, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Of Xau-Tak, and then Agita's probably more well read on this than I am.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I don't know much about those murals because a lot of it can't be translated.
Yeah,
You
they
can
were
just get
saying like
Dragonkin
Dragonkin
name
words.
from it, so just looking at it, yes, at some point there just seems to be this monstrous Dragonkin that breathes fire, but that's why I think they sink the city.
Yeah. Like it's clear that was above water at one point.
Yeah. Which
Doesn't
says
have
to me
quite a
that it's still in
different-
Gielinor, so this is all still happening where we live, and Xau-Tak should not have been able to come through.
Doesn't it have quite a different look from most of the Dragonkin architecture in general in terms of places? A lot of it
Right.
closely represents sort of.
But the thing is, was it
remember.
just recreated from his memory?
Well, it was a temple, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
a Dragonkin temple that we go into for the boss fight at the quest.
I think all the Dragonkin areas we've been to are normally destroyed. They're like, half destroyed by now, so we've never really seen anything in its glory, essentially.
Yeah.
So we're not really too sure what their stuff would look like too much.
But it looks as if, like, all of that was designed to cover up the stone or hold the stone in general. So maybe the stone was there before the whole temple itself, anyway.
Possibly.
That's usually how they used to build things, isn't it? They used to find an artifact and then build something around it to try and protect.
Yeah, because they don't like people to touch.
Well, they were scared of what it was and didn't want to touch it themselves as well, weren't they?
Yeah,
But that's
You
usually
never
human
said who
logic,
originally
so-
made the Stone of Jazz.
it would be Jazz.
Jazz.
Yeah.
Because Jazz handed over the Stone of Jazz to Slisk, thinking it was just a menial object, because it was something that they deemed not worthy of anything, because Jazz is literally so powerful.
Wait. So Why was Sliss chasing the stone then if Jazz had already given it to him?
No, eventually, I think it was in one of the last quests,
Oh,
this
okay.
guy actually manages to kind of manipulate Jazz by his use of words and things like that. Because that's how Slisk works. He doesn't
Yeah.
do anything. He
He's
uses the
not
power
combat,
of
he's-
words
Yeah.
to manipulate people, and he managed, from what I think it was Maud Raven was saying, he basically, what he does is he manages to manipulate Jazz into handing over this item, which Jazz himself is looking at this item like, like you'd look at a spoon. It's
Yeah.
just a tool that he uses. It's of no worth to him whatsoever because of how powerful. And Jazz knows that if Sliske ever becomes a threat to him, Jazz can just snap his fingers and Sliske's end of. So that's the recent most thing about Sliske and the Stone of Jazz.
Sliss gets dead now, so.
No, he's not!
To be fair, as far as we know.
Maybe there's something in that. Maybe that even Slisk said to Jazz about this Xau-Tak figure.
Maybe that's what he used to persuade him.
Exactly, this is what I was thinking. That, I mean, they really don't care for mortals, the Elder Gods.
No.
They really don't care for they just couldn't give a shit about us.
Whenever you look at the Elder artifacts, a lot of them have a specific design and function, like the
Staff of Armadillo or
that's
whatever.
the
That sort of thing.
catalyst and things like that. But this thing here didn't really, the Stone of Jazz didn't really have a specific function.
Other than the fact it was a perfect shape and fit to fill a hole in the bottom of the floor of the ocean.
But what it does look like, and I don't know if it has been said this or not, that all Elder Gods originated from eggs or some form of egg shape. You can find that if you go back to the cradle on
The Elder.
RuneScape.
Yeah.
And one of the eggs, obviously Jazz came from, and the Stone of Jazz looks very similar to one of those eggs.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the Stone of Jazz was actually created as an artifact, or if it was maybe a failed Elder God that was in it at one point.
Oh, was it just him trying to remember? Just a thing he made to remember what he came from?
Possibly. It might just be a
know,
complete
is
failed
it
Elder God,
that
and that's
mean-
why it had so much energy within it.
Yeah,
And
that
they've
could be
just destroyed it now.
interesting.
Factoring everything in, the boss fights, the invasions, puns, and obviously the worst part. We'll start with Agita. How would you rate the quest out of 10?
I would give it a good 8 out of 10. There was a few things that were a bit annoying, and if you weren't reading a guide, was quite tedious, and it just seemed to be one of those things that they just made the quest so that it was longer rather than really necessary. Whenever I look at the quest back, I really believe that they made the ending first. They had that part of the story fleshed out. This is what I want the fight to be, this is what I want to happen there. And then they went, okay, so what could we do to lead up to that point? And some of it was felt a bit rushed, copying the same squid boss thing from the boss we've already got. Bit lazy, don't really need a boss fight there, to be honest with you. So there was a few things they could have improved on, so I would definitely say for myself would be about an 8.
I think when they were talking about that, they were talking also about using existing content, because that's something they're trying to look into using at the moment. So I think that's where they decided to use that from.
Do you know, I think it would have made more sense to actually then just use Agoroth, and you just go, oh look, they've managed to get this squid from Ashdale over to now help there, instead of just creating an almost new character. Just use the same one, and that brings that character back a bit.
Yeah,
I
possibly.
mean, the alien feel of Agoroth and whatever means if there's more of these things, there's more Crassians and whatever. There's sort of an alien invasion going on.
Well, you
like
seen that
low-level
they
alien.
were converting the guards to the Crassian warriors.
Crassian.
Plum, what would you rate it out of 10?
Probably about 7 out of 10. And it's maybe just been harsh because I feel too easy. Like, it just, apart from like the click bit, which was just infuriating, the rest of it just didn't feel too challenging. I liked the lore and I enjoyed the puns. I really enjoyed interrogating the zombie head. I thought that was hilarious. But you know, they put so much effort into all of the little bits and bobs. They didn't actually like think of the easiness of it. It just was too easy. It just didn't feel
For a finale,
challenging.
certainly.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it's not pushing a pillar on a slug or anything, but it definitely could have done with just being a little bit harder.
I'd agree with 7 out of 10. To be honest with you, it didn't feel there was a hell of a lot of completeness. Even if, like, it is to serve as a point, it is to introduce something into the 6th age. It just felt like it was always gearing towards something greater than the ending that it had.
Yeah.
It was always aiming towards, and all the hype that was generated around it, all the way that they marketed it, talked about it non-stop. It didn't feel like a complete object, and it didn't quite. The ending just sort of fizzled out. It didn't match up to what the requirements were.
It's
But
like,
I mean,
okay,
it's
sure,
fun.
the boss fight was a bit of a pain, but I don't feel like you really needed one-time combat.
The final boss against Rabbit Jack, this bad guy that has been built over so many quests, I'll
It was
grant you it was
so
a bit of a
underwhelming.
letdown, yeah.
He's
Yeah, I
built
mean,
up as this big threat, this big character, this archetype character, and all you kind of go, there's something more than him. He's been
Oh
used.
yeah, that's it.
That's
It's
it.
definitely not the
Plug in
last
him.
of them either, yeah.
Yeah, it's
No.
literally put a plug in them.
Yeah.
Literally put a plug in him.
it's one of those where it's a finale, but it doesn't seem like a finale to me. It seems
There's a
very
finale for the
open.
5th age, but clearly open
Yeah.
it for the 6th age.
It's
I mean,
definitely
they really
going
should
to
have
come
put
back, isn't it?
asterisks on all their marketing then, because it was like, it's the finale of the Pirate Quest series. Yeah, but it's not.
No, it's definitely not. It's way too open-ended for it to be.
I would like to give kudos though, but they did add voice acting to Rabbit Jack, which was nice.
Yeah.
So it was nice
See,
to hear
I
him.
play without. looking
Oh,
without,
really? So he
yeah,
was
I
voice acted. So bring back more voice acting. I understand why you say it. We're not going to add more voice acting in because it's costly, and if we do any changes, we need to dub over it or just ignore it. But it brings so much more immersion into it. Please bring back voice acting.
It was a
It
fun,
does add to the quest if you have voice acting on all of it.
It does.
Definitely.
it was a fun quest, but in terms of like story, it could have been so.
Not too much happened. I'll give you.
In the space of like the 2 hours, maybe you spend on average 1.5 hours. You spend on average. You got to think maybe I want some more to happen to justify my time. It's
Yeah.
fun. You get a really good laugh out of it. There's so much immersion going on. You want to examine everything. You really want to get to grips with everything that's going on around you. But ultimately, a question should rest upon its story.
Lauren, what would you rate it out of 10?
I'd say probably like a 6 or a 7 because it was good, but there could have been so much more.
Yeah.
But also, like when you get to the end of the quest, you can kind of tell what they spent the money on,
Yes.
like the whole like sea shanty kind of thing, and it's like they could have spent that money on
I know.
Oh yeah.
actually sorting out Moss Harmless and actually making it look half decent. Because at
Yes.
the moment, and the fact that they horrors on the surface are so completely different to the land. It's like, could you not have just spent more time and given us the quest later and actually done the whole thing?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I think they've also gone on record saying they're not actually going to do anything with Monster Harmless.
Yeah,
Like,
they
okay, sure, they might do it down in a later date when we get to the point where we're getting 6th age pirate quests, but it's mainly because people just don't use Monster Harmless, aside from Clue Scrolls.
Yeah, there's
But
no
at least you
actual
got that
sort of
book now.
content
The
there, is there?
Pirate's Draken Medallion.
Yeah, but you've got to make Brain Death rum to recharge it. It's only got 10 charges.
What does it really?
Ugh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well,
It's
what
got
you
10
do
charges
is
you have to use.
to trying to revive Trouble Brewing with that.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do, but it's
Except there's like a giant workaround is that you just use something to get near enough. So like it works exactly like a Dragon's Medallion, and you get the message due to the run fjord nature of your teleport, you don't use a charge. So all you have to do is get to either Mos Lahamis or get to Brain Death Island, and then you pretty much got a free teleport.
Just read some additional rewards on the wiki, and you folk with Premier Club can speak to the Guardian of the Vault for an extra 500 pieces of 8 to get added to your currency pouch.
I just did that literally 2 minutes ago.
What do you even use the piece of 8 for?
That's where you can go to Trouble Brewing reward shop, and you can get some of the pirate clothing, or Brain Death rum.
Basically, it's kind of useless.
Yeah.
Basically.
But I've never done Trouble Brewing, but it's kind of a difficult minigame to do, especially as there's requirements to it as well. I'm hoping they'd figure out a way to revive it.
Possibly if they move it to this minigame hub, but I have a feeling it's going to be one of the one killed.
I reckon it will be.
And it would be a shame.
But then again, if it's the one that's going to be killed, what are they going to add in its place? Or if they're going to add anything,
they'll add something at a later date.
Hopefully the attack on Mos Lahamis.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those at the moment. I think they get to a point now where they're going to purge mini games, get rid of what's not wanted, and then they'll start possibly looking into doing some more again to fill up the spaces. And it's going to be one of those where they purge it and do some more, and then purge it again.
It's like a pen pat. I'm going to go to the reward store and get a golden cane, and I'm going to go get a purple tricorn hat and dress myself up as a Plum.
Hyde, how would you rate the quest out of 10?
I'd probably settle with majority of the us going with a 7 out of 10 personally. I mean, the lore is definitely there. It's quite a lot of lore in, and it's quite nice to have that, especially in a quest. Some of the playthrough is quite nice, especially where they add certain bits that you've got to do, like that invasion. That was quite a nice thing. The boss fight itself could possibly have been a bit harder.
Yeah.
Or possibly a bit more to it, as opposed to just drinking rum and then freeing. There could have been something else there to make it a bit more difficult if they couldn't make the boss fight any more difficult. It's been left very open-ended at the end, so that would be nice if they carry on into the 6th page.
Well, I think we're definitely going to learn more about this Captain. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Chef.
I actually thought it was like abbreviation for shaking my head. I thought it was Captain SMH. And I thought, is this part of one of the puns or something?
But we had.
I like her though. She's really good. I wish she'd be part of like the Ark or Ports or something like that.
I think she probably will, because she did say something like, "I'll see yous again," I'm sure, on the Ark Island. So she.
Well,
she was like,
Jack did say there's something more to you as well. So I wonder if and she does have a connection to the Eastern Isles, and they usually are things like your sirens and your sea singers. So could be something like that maybe in the future.
She knows a bit of special magic, basically.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a new ports person.
Maybe in the 6th age then.
Possibly. But
Well,
who
Ports
knows?
stuff
Because
can
like
fit.
you said, it's in the 5th age. Ports is in the 6th age. You probably would have bumped into her by now.
Yeah, true.
What was with her hair? That's the only thing about it. Like, as a character, she was definitely my favourite part of the quest. I just couldn't understand the hair.
It's a shame because like her character model was really up to date, and it was quite, you know, the new graphics and a little bit different, and then other things were just not so good.
At least they updated character models for everything, but again, as Lauren's point, when you look at the grand scheme of things, even like that little basement, the secret basement hideout, when it's so old compared to the new models, it does take a little bit of immersion away from you.
But they've updated these jungle horrors, cave horrors, and that. A, they're bigger. B, they don't sort of blend in now. They're just there.
Yeah, they're very noticeable.
They really look horrible. I mean, the actual models themselves are nice, but they needed to make the background to go the actual, habitat to accommodate them more.
Like, Musla Harmless is supposed to be like a tropical jungle even, so yeah, I agree with you, like the trees should have been made much bigger so that they did blend in, and grass was bigger so they were more hiding. And I'm sure that is maybe the aim, but until they do that, the jungle horrors do stand out like a sore thumb. Yeah.
So, like we've got the areas, and then we have Nazcab, and they were introduced as the inhabitants of Nazcab.
Yes.
Do you see the possibility for there being quite a similar situation with the jungle horrors, and there being their own separate realm where there are the Crassians?
Yes, the
horrors.
horrors are not from this world originally. The horrors
I
were brought to this
reckon
world.
They're going to give us another option for the portal.
Oh yeah, because that plug is not going to hold. But on the other side of it, Xau-Tak is somewhere near.
Yeah, so we've got a portal to the Elder Gods. I
Within
reckon
arm's
that
reach.
portal, that same portal will be used to be able to reach Xau-Tak,
Well, Gate.
the World Gate, yeah.
Well, then you'd understand why this has to be a 5th age quest, and then add that option in
Exactly.
to the 6th age. That's
Because
why it
if I
even
remember
matters.
right, there's 6 options on that World Gate,
Yeah, KFC.
and you can only access 2, or is it
KFC.
3?
3.
3, because you got the ones with the Rune Dragon's
and
Eye.
Tradidid, or whatever that's called.
Tadviad, yes.
Tradidid.
Don't start messing up these words.
Trinidad KFC.
You need Tobago to go with it.
So, I reckon that the World Gate's going to come into use again at some point, hopefully.
Would be good.
And we'll get,
Yeah.
it'll
Like
be
a
interesting when we
nice
do
little
get to see it.
Nazcab area maybe might be quite interesting.
I know this has got nothing to do with what you were talking about there, but can I just throw in that I love they had the Monkey Island reference in this quest?
You fight like
And made me laugh so much. Well, obviously it's you fight like a dairy farmer, how appropriate you fight like a cow, but I think they would like said a zombie cow
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, it was like, I was like, yes.
there was a lot of kind of Monkey Island references, I felt.
Yeah.
Especially like the beginning part, using items on other obscure items.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I started feeling Monkey Island vibes from it.
I know.
Yeah.
Probably why I rage quit that game as well.
Never actually played Monkey Island.
Oh, it's amazing.
What's your out of 10 rating, Em?
So I would probably say about 7.5 because mainly I did enjoy the puns and the boss fights, but I did use a guide, so I missed out on a lot of stuff as well. But no, 7.5 seems pretty fair, and I'm not really a lore follower, so it's kind of like get the quest done and tick it off kind of. Thank you very much for listening to our podcast about the Pirate Quest. Remember that our social media links are on the screen to the side. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, really helps us, and the Twitch links for some of our clan members will be in the description below as well.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Ta-da.